I found Grandma's last letter 3 days after her funeral, on a quiet afternoon when the house felt heavier than it ever had before. It wasn't hidden in a locked drawer or sealed inside an envelope marked important. It was resting gently inside her old, stained cookbook, the same cookbook she used every single Sunday morning, even when her hands began to shake, and her eyesight wasn't what it used to be. The house didn't feel silent. It felt hollow, like it was waiting for her to come back. Grandma's small wooden house in Ohio had always smelled like cinnamon, warm bread, and safety. Every time I walked through the door as a child, I felt like the world outside could no longer hurt me. Now, that familiar smell was gone. In its place was dust, cold air, and the sharp feeling of goodbye. Everyone said Grandma Eleanor passed away peacefully at 82. They said she lived a long life and that I should be grateful. But no one tells you that peaceful deaths still leave loud pain behind. They don't tell you how quiet rooms can scream. She raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 9 years old. Overnight, she became my mother, my father, my protector, and my friend. She learned how to braid my hair even though she was terrible at it. She stayed awake through my nightmares and whispered prayers until I fell asleep. And yet, in the last few years of her life, I stopped coming as often. Life became busy. Work became stressful. Days passed faster than I noticed. Phone calls became shorter. Visits became next time. I told myself she understood. I told myself many lies. I walked slowly into her kitchen, my footsteps echoing in a space that once felt alive. Her faded blue apron still hung behind the door, wrinkled exactly the way she left it. The kettle sat on the stove, cold and empty, waiting for hands that would never touch it again. I could almost hear her voice, soft but firm, saying, "Nothing tastes right when you rush it, sweetheart." I smiled for just a second. Then my chest tightened, because I rushed everything. My mornings, my meals, my visits, including her. I began packing her kitchen slowly, opening cabinets one by one. Every plate held a memory. Every cup carried a story. I remembered Sunday pancakes shaped like hearts, even when they came out uneven. I remembered burnt toast she insisted tasted perfectly fine. I remembered late-night tea when I cried over problems she didn't fully understand but listened to anyway. My hands trembled as I reached for her old cookbook. The cover was cracked, the pages yellowed, stained with years of love. As soon as I lifted it, the book fell open naturally, like it had been waiting for me. That's when I saw the envelope. It wasn't new. It was worn, slightly bent at the edges. My name was written on it in shaky handwriting. For my sweet girl. My heart dropped. I sat down at the kitchen table, the same table where she taught me how to read, how to say thank you, how to ask God for help when I didn't have the right words. I held the envelope for a long time before opening it, afraid that once I read it, she would truly be gone. The letter began softly. "My dear child, if you are reading this, then I have finally gone where pain cannot follow me. Please don't cry for me. I lived a full life because I had you. My vision blurred with tears. I know you've been busy. I saw how tired you were every time you visited. I never blamed you for the days you didn't come. I just wish you knew that I was always proud of you, even when you forgot to call." My hands started shaking. "There is something I need to tell you before it is too late. When you were 13, you asked me why I never remarried after your grandfather died. I told you I didn't need anyone else. That wasn't the whole truth." My heartbeat grew louder in my ears as I continued reading. "The truth is, love changes shape. I loved your grandfather deeply, but after he passed, my love became something quieter. It became patience. It became waiting. It became the way I watched the door every evening, hoping you might visit. It became you." I pressed the letter against my chest and cried the way I hadn't even cried at her funeral. She continued, Please forgive yourself for not being perfect. Life is not meant to be rushed. Sit with people longer. Hold hands tighter. Say, I love you even when it feels uncomfortable. One day, silence will answer back, and you will wish you had stayed a little longer. There was one last instruction. In the small box under my bed, you will find a ring. It is not valuable, but it carries every prayer I ever whispered for you. Wear it when you feel lost. I walked into her bedroom on weak legs and pulled the box from under the bed. Inside was a simple silver ring, worn smooth by time and touch. I slid it onto my finger, and for the first time since her funeral, warmth returned to my chest. At the bottom of the box was one final folded note. Live a life that makes you proud when you are old. And when you miss me, bake bread. I will be there. That night, I stayed in her house. I baked bread using her recipe. Slowly, patiently, filling the empty rooms. And in that quiet moment, I finally understood. Grandma never really left. She lived in the kindness I almost forgot to show, in the moments I chose to slow down, in the love I promised never to rush again. Her last letter didn't say goodbye. It taught me how to live.